Okay. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, GMAT Club, for hosting us today. Um, Today we'll talk about London Business School application. This session is going to go very quickly, but it will be on YouTube and you can pause it. And especially if you're applying to London Business School, go slowly and use all the things we'll talk about. I just wanted to mention, I'll probably mention this again, this is session number 1, where we'll talk about the entire application. But in session number 2, we'll actually talk about the essays and how to write a great application for London Business School. So let's kick off. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Shimri Winters. I'm a London Business School graduate. I used to interview for London Business School when I graduated and probably interviewed tens of candidates to London Business School. I work at ARINGO MBA Admissions Consulting. This is my only marketing slide. It's not a very big one, but what do we do? We're a boutique MBA admission consulting firm. We help with everything from chances estimation and project management and school selection, all the way to the applications and even scholarship negotiation, and from the beginning till the end. And that was my marketing slide. I mean, we're very good. You can see our statistics online. There's about 12 years of statistics there. And all our stats are verified. That was my marketing slides. Okay, now we can actually start and talk about London Business School. I just wanted to mention that if you have questions and you're in the live session, you can write them in the chat. The agenda for today is going to appear in the next slide, but I just wanted to give you a bit of timelines. I'm going to talk very quickly about London Business School and just introduce you to this school for about 10 minutes or so. And then I'm going to take you to the London Business School application and actually walk you through every single step of the application. And then we're going to leave as much time as needed for a Q&A session. And again, you can write questions as we go along in the chat. And I promise you, we will address all the relevant ones. I was going to say all of them, but let's say all the relevant questions in the chat. So if you have a question, we will get to it. Okay, so again, let's start. So this is the quick brief about London Business School. This is usually a presentation I give across an hour. I'm going to get it into 10 minutes. So we're going to do it very quickly. London Business School is a great school. Okay, I'm also the alumni of London Business, an alumnus of London Business School, but I think everybody would agree it's an amazing school. It's very near Regent's Park. The view from some of the halls there is the lake in Regent's Park in the middle of London. It also has a campus in Dubai, mainly for executive education and executive MBAs. So we'll talk mainly about the London campus. Huge alumni base of 55,000 people. They come from many countries, very international. Lots of scholarship money there as well. I didn't find like a newer statistic, but there's a lot of scholarships and a lot of scholarship money. So it's a great school from that perspective. Just about what London Business School offers. Today, we'll mainly talk about the full-time MBA program. I just wanted to mention that there's also a few other programs, mainly for people with less work experience, let's say up to 2 years of work experience. And then the Master in Management and Master in Analytics would be a better fit, or people with over 10 years of experience or even more than that. And there's also something called the Sloan program, which is for experienced candidates. And there's also part-time programs like the Executive MBA. I also will leave my details at the end. And if you want to contact me regarding one of these programs, you want some personal information, you'll have to wait to see my email at the end. So I apologize for that. But I can answer questions about any of these programs later on in the questions. So London Business School, I mean, it's one of the best programs in the world. A lot of people ask me, okay, is it ranked 3, 4, 5? Is it one of the best? It's one of the best. It doesn't really matter in my eyes if a school is ranked 2, 5, 6, 12, 8. I think we can agree London Business School is one of the best business schools in the world. You can see all different rankings here. It's one of the best business schools in Europe. Not many other schools can compare to it. It has a global brand. Check out, ask people in the Middle East, in Asia, in the Americas, in other continents, in other countries. It's one of the best schools in the world. Again, this is just very quick briefs. I'm kind of running quickly. Some statistics. It's a very, very, very international school. As you can see, 94% are international students this year. That's a crazy statistics. It's actually the length of the degree can be customized. You can do it in 15 months and all the way to 21 months. This is the full-time MBA degree. I think there's a huge location advantage, which we'll speak about, and there's lots and lots of electives. It is a very expensive program. It costs £120,000. Like I said, there's lots of scholarships. And you can find a job with a very high percentage of success at the end of the MBA. And as you can see, a very nice statistic that I found today when I was looking at the audit that was made to London Business School alumni is that 5% this year of graduates open startups. I thought that was a very nice statistic, around 26 people out of 500. I just found that really interesting. Great average salary. This is before bonuses, before sign-up bonuses, before stocks and things like that. This is just the average base salary. There's the average GMAT here. You can see all that. So that's the school. I'm not going to go into the whole curriculum of the school. And again, you can pause this video later on YouTube and start reading it. But I will say that the first year, like a lot of other business schools, especially the US ones, will be core courses. So there's a lot of microeconomics, general management, marketing, finance, entrepreneurship, and there isn't a lot of selection. And the second year will be mainly electives. And there's, I can't remember how many, tens and tens, probably more of electives. And you can you can basically choose which electives to do. And you need to do X amount of electives, but you really can actually choose which electives you want to do. So I'm not going to talk too much about the curriculum, but you can watch some other videos of mine about London Business School. Is it the right fit for you? With a high chance, yes. It's really a great school. And I've seen many profiles and many different people find an amazing fit in the school. So I've seen very analytical, driven people. I've seen people who worked and want to continue working in the arts, in education, in NGOs. Because the center of London, such a vibrant city with so many different professional options, I've really seen the school work for many, many people from various backgrounds. I would say it's quite difficult to get into, but if you manage to get into, and you're ambitious enough and you manage to get into, it's probably the right school for you. That's it. I won't go into too many things here. And the learning experience is very active. Most of the electives and the core courses use kind of case study method, like a lot of US business schools. And it's very active learning. So you don't sit and read a book. You talk about how EasyJet price their tickets and how the Olympics sell different classes of ticketing for, I don't know, the opening ceremony. So it's very active with a lot, because it's connected to London, to the city. A lot of managers from the city, some of them are alumni of the school, some are just business experts, come to the classes. So you sometimes do sessions, let's say about Body Shop, and Dame Anita Rudick could come suddenly, the founder of Body Shop could, suddenly appear in the class, or that kind of thing. So there's a lot of people that come to the class, a lot of experts. And there's a lot of real life models, there's some mentioned here, like GBE or the Summer Entrepreneurship School, or London Cap. All of these are models that involve real companies. Each one of them are a bit different, but London Cap, you really go to companies and work with them in London. The GB, you go to a different city and work with companies there. Entrepreneurship Summer School, I think you understand, you work on your own entrepreneurship ideas. So there's lots of things. It's not just sitting and, like I said, it's real life connection to different businesses and different industries. It's not just a theoretical course. Beyond the classroom, this is where the real magic happens. There's over 80 clubs. Some of them are professional, let's say entrepreneurship club, technology club, and some are just fun, cheese and wine club, salsa, dancing club. So there's lots of clubs, and this is where the magic happens, where you meet other students, where you engage with other students. Sometimes job opportunities happen from these engagements, or different opportunities happen. There's lots of conferences nearly every week or two. There's something going on, something big. And these conferences are usually student-led conferences. Again, it can be medical devices, it can be AI, it can be technology, it can be the future of e-learning. So it can be various conferences. Again, a very good opportunity to interact with professionals and even look for your next position and next job through these conferences and clubs. It's a very friendly partner and family school. I'm not sure if the UK is a very friendly visa place for partners, and that's a whole different discussion. But if you do manage to get to the UK with your partner and you got visas, the school is very opening. I went with a partner to London Business School, and she got a partner's card, and she can use the gym and the swimming pool and come to all the events and come to various conferences. And Thursday nights there's Sundowners where you basically drink beers. And she was invited to all these events. So it's a very, very friendly school for partners and families. We're nearly there. I told you I'll run very quickly about the school. I think when someone asks me what's the biggest advantage of London Business School, I think the word London kind of gives it away. I'm not 100% sure you learn anything different. Sorry, secret. You don't learn something different than they teach you in Columbia or Harvard or Chicago, but you're based in London. And London is a huge, huge advantage. If I look professionally, again, it's a huge tech hub. There's so much technology stuff going on right now in London. Obviously, if you're thinking about finance or consulting, this is kind of one of the main cities of the world. There's more banks in London than what it says here, Japanese banks than in Tokyo, and American banks than in New York, etc. It really is a hub for banking. It's a hub for consulting. It's a hub for technology. It's a hub for Europe. And we haven't seen a big change since Brexit. Everybody thought like it's going to all shift away. Kind of the same. Big headquarters of the big companies are, the big global companies are in London, looking for bright MBAs to join them. And if we look at the not professional side, I'm trying really, I know I might not be objective, to think of a better city to live in, a more fun city to live in than London. If you like football, if you like museums, if you like ballet, if you like exhibitions, if you like theater, if you like Mr. Bean, if you like whatever, London's the place for you. Yeah, cheap flights, I forgot, very important. So it's a great city. Just kind of one or two last words about what happens at the end of the MBA. I think the statistics will be pretty similar to other top MBA programs. There is quite a big majority that go to consulting, and I'll show you in the next slide, but you'll see that BCG and McKinsey are the two bigger recruiters of the school in any industry. There's a lot of finance. Actually, there aren't very big recruiters, but there's a lot of recruiters to finance. So there'll be a lot of banks and a lot of financial institutions recruiting 4, 5, 6 graduates every year, but a lot of these institutions. But there's also all the rest, and I'll show you some companies. Okay, so wait, this is a slide from a few years ago, hasn't changed dramatically. You can look at some of the logos, and usually when I do a live session, I kind of ask people, which company wouldn't you want to work in, something like that. I don't want to badmouth, but a lot of people say kind of maybe Burger King, what's this company doing here, or something like that. So even Burger King or any other of these big international companies, they're not recruiting you to cut the vegetables and fried onions. Okay, they're recruiting you for a management rotation program. Half a year you work in finance, half a year you work in marketing, half a year you work in strategy, half a year you work in real estate. And then after 2 years, you kind of decide together with them where you want to work. So it's an amazing opportunity. And here are the biggest recruiters in 2024. Like I said, the consulting firms, I think there were 45 or 50 recruits from BCG, and again, 40 plus from McKinsey. Okay, so a lot of people went to these, two, and Bain was the third. I think there were 25 or something. A lot of people went to these 3 leading firms, MBB consulting firms. But as you can see, finance, there's a lot of firms as well. And I didn't even know how to call this diverse / technology. I'm not sure if Uber is industry, or Uber is a technology firm. I'm not sure if MasterCard, they might put themselves as an Amex as technology. I think they might be finance. So, you know, there's so much interacting between these um, different industries today. But I think you'll agree these are kind of the global companies, and they're all recruiting MBAs from London Business School. Where do you actually work? I think I just skipped that. Most of the alumni, this is kind of I think after a few years, most of the alumni stay in the UK, but I think there's a very nice split across the world, which is kind of a bit different than a lot of the US schools, where people just stay very near to the school or move within the US. And I think this is an amazing opportunity to be a London Business School grad with alumni from all over the world that then continue going to all over the world after their MBA. And that's it. I'm not going to go into this too much, but there are 4 rounds of applications. Some years they had 3, some years 4. Basically, if you're ready, apply early in September. If you're not ready, apply in round 2. There's not a big difference of chances between round 1 and round 2, so just apply when you're ready. And there's some later rounds. That's a bit more risky because you don't know how many people have already been accepted to London Business School. But again, we've had many candidates get in the last rounds. Apply when you're ready. If your GMAT is maximized, if your application is ready, apply then. If not, not. What's the process? We're going to go into it in detail now, but basically you have to submit your application, wait to get an interview, and then if you might get a decision. Okay, so let's talk about the criteria and dig into the form itself. You need a GMAT, you need an undergraduate degree, and you need some work experience. If you have these 3 criteria, you can definitely get into London Business School. If you're not a native English speaker or didn't study in English, you might need, or you probably need, some kind of English eligibility test like TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo. And if you have these criteria, you can apply, and we're going to look now on the application exactly what you need. So once you have all that, you can apply. I'm leaving how do you maximize your application for our next session. We'll talk about essays and the CV and recommendations, and look for that one because we're going to give a lot of tips on how to get into London Business School. But this today is more of an admin presentation on all the requirements that you need for London Business School. I'm just going to leave this slide open for a sec. If you want to write down my email, if you want kind of a profile assessment, this isn't the platform, just send me an email. But please send me, you know, your CV, GMAT score, any other information that I can actually give you some answers. And check us out on ARINGO.com. I'll leave this open for a second. And now we're going to dive into the London Business School form. I can see there's quite a few questions on the chat. I love it. I think we'll leave the Q&A for, it's going to be around 15 minutes from now. So please keep asking questions on the chat, and then we will go through them one by one. As I promised, we're not going to leave any relevant question. So I'm stopping to share my screen, but don't worry, I'm going to share a different screen, which will be the London Business School application. So what we're going to do is start from the beginning. If you are applying to London Business School, you will have a very similar page to this. And this is the first page of the London Business School application. I just want to say in advance, the London Business School online application, what we're going to go through in the next few minutes, is probably the longest online application that there is in all the MBA programs that I know of. And I've probably seen around 100 business schools and their online application. So definitely when you focus on an application, you always write the essays and you want your recommenders to submit on time and your CV to be perfect. But at London Business School, I would definitely dedicate a lot of time for this online application. There's a lot of things hiding here. There's a lot of additional information that you can put here that can compensate or strengthen the essays and your CV. So definitely allocate enough time. There's many hours here to be spent on London Business School online application. Okay, so without talking further, let's go through it. So as you can see, there's 9 pages here on the left. You can see these links, and we'll go through some of them or all of them. The first page is actually quite straightforward, right? It's kind of personal information. So I'm just going to go flick through it. Yes, when do you want to apply? Well, I want to apply for next year. Have you ever applied before? Okay, this is, and is someone going to recommend you from the school or something like that? So you can put their names down. But then, here you just put your name, email, phone number, things like that. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm not going to go through kind of obvious things. Put your email here, your phone number, etc., and you can go next. I'm not going to save every time and move next because a lot of these fields aren't actually full, so it won't let me save them. And now we get ready to our second page, which will be full of open questions that we need to answer. So this page talks about your current employment. Now, a lot of people ask me, why do I need to give all these details? I'm specifying them in my CV, right? The CV will have all the details about my current employer. So first of all, good question. I'm not necessarily have a great answer for you. But all I can say is they're asking for it. This is also for LBS's statistics, but this is also for whoever's reviewing your application and later on for the interviewer. And yes, when I used to interview candidates for London Business School, I used to get like a PDF with the entire application. I think it was like 40 pages of content, and I used to read it all. So definitely don't skim through this, but write everything. So again, these are just a few straightforward details about your employer, the size of the employer, and the address of the employer. But now we get to kind of some open questions, which I would kind of prepare in advance. So what your organization's main area of activity? Again, this is quite straightforward, but not everybody has heard of your employer. Okay, so if it's a very famous employer, again, don't just say Amazon, the global supermarket plus a global retailer plus we do web hosting. No, explain in 20 or 30 words what Amazon actually does. And if your employer isn't a famous brand, definitely invest here in explaining what your employer does. Then there's a few other checkboxes which are quite quick, right? Well, what industry you're in and your job function. Here you need to key in your salary. A lot of people ask me, should I lie? Maybe I should say a higher salary and be impressive. Maybe I should say a lower salary so I get a scholarship. My advice is just say the truth. You don't want afterwards, if there's a verification process, and you have to show a salary slip or something, you don't lie. Just tell the truth. It's all good. London Business School have seen very high salary candidates and have seen very low salary candidates. That's fine. And it's quite obvious that if you work in Wall Street and you're a banker, you make more than if you work in a third world country and you work in an NGO. Okay, so that's fine. Or if you work in the army or you have a government job. So again, you have to describe or detail your salary. And here we get to a very big question, which is your responsibilities. Now, again, a lot of people ask me, okay, I've kind of said some achievements in my CV. Can't I just copy them? The answer is no. You need to describe your responsibilities. What do you actually do in your job? Are you a consultant? What does that mean? And don't take anything for granted, okay? Like the school doesn't know what a consultant at McKinsey does. You have to take that into account. The school doesn't know what an accountant at Deloitte does. Explain what your responsibilities are. Who do you interact with? Do you speak to clients? Do you speak to internal people? Are you managing a team? Are you in charge of a budget? This is where you kind of have to describe. And as you can see, London Business School is saying, up to 400 words. You definitely don't need to put 400 words, but I would be surprised if you're going to put here less than 200 words. So you can call these things mini essays. You can call them whatever you want. But again, there's a lot of additional information that you really want to give here. Okay, let's continue. And here there's a very, very important question, which is if you're currently not working. Business schools tend to like people that work. Maybe you have a very good reason that you left your job, maternity leave, paternity leave. Maybe you opened a startup that didn't work. Maybe you were laid off and you're just still looking for a job. Explain it. Okay, because if I was an interviewer or if I'm scanning your application and I can see something in by the way, can you see my screen? I'm I didn't actually get a thumbs up from anyone that I'm actually sharing my screen properly. Melissa, everything okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I always check and I forgot. Thank you. This is one of the sessions where I talk a lot very quickly. I'm just trying to talk very quickly so to leave time for questions. So this is a super important question. And if you're not working, we really need an explanation because as an interviewer, as a screener for CVs or for applicants, if you have a very big gap and there's no reason for that gap, that's a huge issue for business schools. So explain big gaps if you have. And if you're supported by your employer, that's also important. I can kind of explain why. You know, you saw before in the beginning where I showed London Business School and on the employers that London Business School really helps you with their career services to find a position post MBA. But if you're going back to your employer, maybe the employer is paying for your MBA. That's also something very important that London Business School wants to know because maybe they don't need to look for a job for you. So maybe that's an advantage, or maybe that explains your story a bit better. You have a great job today. Why are you leaving it? My employer is actually sponsoring me, and I'm going to go back to the employer or something like that. So again, as you saw, there's some questions here which can really support your application, strengthen any holes that might be in it, or just make a great application, fantastic application. Here it's kind of similar, but they talk about your previous employment. And again, you need to kind of say who the organization is, and later on you have to say your salary and then your responsibilities. If you forgot what you're supposed to say here, uh, go back 3 minutes in my explanation about your current employer, and here you just put your previous employer. And here you can put a previous employer as well. I can't remember, I think you can put up to 3 previous employers. So if you had 7, that might be too many, and just choose the bigger, maybe more recent, but also like the longer employment periods that you had. Try and put your full-time employers here. If you were working part-time somewhere during university or something like that, try and go for the full-time employers. I'm going to drink a bit of water, and now we're going to go to the next section. We're already in section number 4 out of 9, so we're making amazing progress. And in this section, we're actually going to, it's quite a quick one actually. And it's in case you have, oh, I'll scroll all the way up. And it actually talks about your education, if you have any qualifications. So as discussed, London Business School prefers that you have an undergraduate degree. I have to admit that this is one of the few schools that will also consider applicants without an undergraduate degree. Every year at ARINGO, we work with about 2 applicants, so not 100, that don't have an undergraduate degree. We've had London Business School candidates in the past. I think I had in my class at London Business School 1 or 2, definitely 1, I'm trying to think if I had 2, students without an undergraduate degree, so it's definitely possible. I will say you have to have a very special and unique work experience and life to get into a top school without an undergraduate degree. Again, talk to me privately. You have my email 20 minutes ago if you have any questions on that. So here you put in the detail of your undergraduate degree. Basically, you have to describe it. And then you have to add the transcripts and some kind of recognition of your degree. I don't know, the official poster or whatever, or just an official letter from the school saying you were eligible for a BA in whatever you did. If you have any professional qualifications, if you're a lawyer, an accountant, that would count. If you're not, you're not, okay? And then there's any other professional qualifications. So people ask me sometimes, I'm a lifeguard, or I have a certificate for being a gym instructor. So up to you. Again, it really, up to me if you want my assistance here, but it really depends what the story we're telling the school is. And if you're a business, if you want to open a gym chain and you want to be the next Holmes Place CEO, so then maybe a gym instructor isn't like a silly idea. That might be a good idea to mention it here. Might also be a good idea to mention it in your optional essays. So again, it just really depends on your profile. But definitely, if you have any certificates, another one could be some kind of a stock exchange broker certificate, depending on which country you're in. Yes, mention all of that. And then academic performance, if you got some kind of awards, cum laude is always good, or some kind of dean's list, something like that, it's always good to put it here. This is a very, very interesting question. I think I've only seen it at London Business School. By the way, I advise people to actually kind of use this prompt for optional essays in other schools as well. This is a very important prompt. And I'm very happy that London Business School put it in their online application because it frees up for you the optional essay, which you can use for other purposes. And the prompt is, if you feel your academic performance doesn't give an accurate indication of your potential. Basically, if your GMAT was lower than average, if your undergraduate degree was a lower score than what maybe London Business School expect, okay? It's very hard for me to give you numbers because a lot of you come from different geographies. But if we look at the American scale out of 4, if your GPA was less than 3, that might be considered a bit, a bit low. If your GMAT focus edition is less than 600, that's quite low. Okay, for London Business School, where their average might be 655 in GMAT Focus Edition. Okay, so if you feel, actually you're an analytical person, you have great English, you know everything, but your GMAT was a bit lower than average, maybe you want to explain it. Again, only if you have something to explain. Maybe you were working throughout your degree, and that's why your GPA is a bit lower than average. Maybe your mother was sick. Maybe you were focusing on dancing and partying in the first year. And again, should you mention this or not? I don't know. We need to discuss your profile. But consider mentioning here something if you feel your performance wasn't it doesn't give a representation of your potential. Again, if you've received formal disciplinary action from your university, you might want to mention it here, especially if it's written in your transcript somewhere. So don't lie, just give them all the information. And that was page number 4. Don't worry, we're nearly at the end because these pages are going to be a bit easier. Page number 5 is more about standard test scores. So again, there's the GMAT that you need to report it. You also need to go to GMAT and send London Business School your GMAT score. And same goes with the English eligibility test. Let's see them down here. And again, if you did a test, I don't know, a TOEFL or IELTS or a Duolingo test, you need to report it here. And you see there's a score, and you can do a self-assessment about your English ability if you want. And you can say you're currently working, in an English-speaking country or something like that. So pretty straightforward, all of this, and here's your test scores. And I think it's pretty straightforward. And if you speak other languages, you can mention them here. Okay, if you speak more than 3, you can add other languages. So I said this is going to be quite straightforward, and we're going to move into additional information. This isn't a straightforward. And this is, again, another amazing chance. The London Business School, although it's very long, have given people to mention more information that can give me, as if I was working at London Business School this year, and screening your application, it would give me a more holistic answer to who you are and why you're applying to this school. So I love this first question. Again, if it wasn't here, I would probably suggest that you mention it somewhere in the optional essay or something. So I'm glad London Business School put it here. And it's to mention an international experience. And again, you have 100 words, call it a mini essay to tell London Business School about another experience that you have. So they actually have 3 essays, and here's another place to put your essay. I saw one of you raising their hand. Just write questions in the chat. We're nearly finished with this, and then we're moving into the Q&A session. So in about 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to start the Q&A session. Another great place to write, and again, 300 words. This isn't a mini essay. This is a maxi essay, okay? 300 words. We can tell in the business school about your activities outside of the professional life. And I know maybe you've mentioned very quickly in the resume, like a random marathon. But here you can say, like, I've been training for marathon for the last 2 years. I believe, running really helps me unwind after a long week in the office. And I love running. Or again, it really depends on your profile, but maybe if you do some kind of group exercise, I don't know, you play basketball, maybe you were the captain, maybe you like painting, maybe you like drawing, maybe you like yoga, maybe you like cooking. Again, sometimes this isn't relevant, but sometimes this can kind of paint a more holistic profile, and I can kind of get you, okay? And when I was interviewing for London Business School, I wanted to kind of get person. And we'll talk about this next session when we talk about how to have a great application. But there's obviously your professional experience and there's your academic experience, but there's all the rest. And at least me as an interviewer, I was always looking at all the rest as well, giving that a big weight in the entire review process of your profile. So definitely use this space to kind of write about extracurricular activities. This is also just one last place. I think there's one more, which kind of describes, yeah, here, these two together. So this first one is, have you ever, been in a webinar? So you can even use this webinar and say, yes, I went on GMAT Club or I went on YouTube and I found an alumnus of London Business School, Shimri Winters, presenting information about the school. This shows the school that you're showing interest here. And the school wants to know, how did you hear about them? Have you done your research? Why who have you spoken to? And the next one I love, again, I've never seen this question in any other school, is have you discussed your plans with your family? Okay, I mean, there's a huge impact on spending so much money and probably 94% of the people moving to another country and spending 15 to 21 months studying full time and then maybe remaining in that country in London or in England or maybe not to work. So there's a huge impact on your family, on your friends. Have you discussed it? What did they say? Maybe you've been cut off of the inheritance. Maybe your friends love it because now they want to come and visit you. So again, London Business School just wants to kind of know you and get to know you. And here is the last question here, I think, is just one other question about, have you done your research? Have you spoken to graduates? Have you spoken to students? Have you been on webinars? Whatever, just to show your interest. Here is a bit of a cheeky question. By the way, it's not mandatory, but London Business School are asking, which other schools have you applied to? A lot of people ask me, should I write here something? Don't overthink it. I would just tell the truth. If you apply to other schools, let London Business School know. It's more for their statistics. And they just want to know how you're going to fund your London Business School MBA. Are you counting on a scholarship? Do you have a scholarship? Are you counting on a loan? Again, if you're making $100 a month and been working for 3 years, London Business School wants to know that you can actually afford this MBA. So how are you going to fund it? And I think we're at the end. I just wanted to mention this is kind of a new section. If you belong to one of these, do you want to belong to one of these clubs, like Women in Business, or something like that? That's actually great. And if you actually come from one of these organizations, I won't go into all of them, but if you come from one of these organizations, some of them are only in the UK, some are international. So just mention it. London Business School want to know if you came through Forte or something like that. And if we go into, I think we're in the last page 7, don't worry about 8 and 9. This is where you upload everything. Okay, so everything we're going to talk about in our next session, the essays and your CV and your GMAT score and your English test score, okay, and the transcripts. So this is just the admin uploading everything. And here there's like a checklist, okay. You can write where you want to, sorry, you can write here where you want to be interviewed. I usually suggest to write your home city and then maybe write the biggest city in your country. There's always alumni from London Business School in that city. And then maybe give them one other option, maybe the second biggest city of your country, or maybe another option. And yes, if it requires a bit of travel from you, still, that makes sense. And then here you have to know that you're going to pay £200. And here's a checklist. Have you done all this? And if you have, you declare that you've provided accurate information, that you tick a V somewhere, and then you save. And I don't think there's anything on the last page. And we're finished. Sorry, there is something on the last page. You have to state, I think, your date of birth, and if you want to state your ethnicity, and basically, I think that's it. Okay, gender, very important. And then you submit. Don't submit too quickly. It's a very long application. And again, I strongly suggest waiting till it's ready and applying when you're ready. If that's not in round 1, apply when you're ready. And we finished that part of the session, part number 2. And part number 3, I'm just going to leave here you again my email. Check us out on aringo.com. We specialize. We have a European team that specializes in the European MBAs. We have a US team that specializes in the US MBAs. And you can also send me your CV and GMAT score and any questions to shimriw@aringo.com. I will leave this on the screen. If people understood enough and they want to drop off, thank you very much. Check out our next session. It will be in a couple of weeks that actually goes through the applications and gives you tips on the resume, on the essays, and on choosing your recommenders for London Business School. Melissa, thank you very much for
Great.
moderating this, and I'll leave the platform for you to ask me all the questions that were on the chat. I will
Yes, we
drink.
have
You ask
many
questions.
questions. Yes,
Are
from
there any questions?
yes, there are many questions actually. The first one is from Anushri. She has 2.5 years of work experience and she wants to know if it's a drawback that she doesn't have a lot of experience and if it's better to do an master in management or an MBA.
Okay. So first of all, continue asking the questions on the chat, and me and Melissa, we decided we're not sleeping today, so you can ask as many questions as you want. So that's a great question. I obviously need to see your profile to tell you if you can apply this year or maybe you want to wait one more year to gain more professional experience. But usually master in management and master in business analytics, look for candidates with up to 2 years of experience. Once you kind of pass that threshold, and if I understand correctly, you already have 2.5 years of experience. And if you're applying now, that means next year you will have 3.5 years of experience. That's getting really close to the school average. So I don't know what experience you have and if this is a substantial experience or not, but you're probably aiming for an MBA. And again, is your profile maximized already, or should you wait another year or two? Just send me again a private email, and I'll try and answer that there.
Mm. She also asks, she reads a lot of books and novels, but not many other extracurriculars. So she can mention her book club.
Yeah. So again, I'll try and every question that's asked, I'm going to try and answer a bit wider, if that's okay. So first of all, you are who you are, and not everybody were the squash champion, or I don't know, won an award from the president. Okay, some people just have very regular hobbies, and that's absolutely fine. So all you can do is tell them, what your extracurriculars are. And if you train dogs, you train dogs. And if you read books and you're in a book club, that's interesting. But I would kind of take it further. Okay, so what books do you like? And why do you like, now I'm making it up, autobiographies or spy books? Because you like understanding why people did what they did, or you like trying to think by yourself who killed, I don't know what in the spy book, who killed someone. So, explain kind of why you like your hobbies. Um, and again, if you have a good professional experience and some kind of interesting out of work experiences, it can be volunteering, it can just be hobbies. That's good. Like I said, I just want to kind of get to know you and to, yeah. Long answer. Next.
Now, they are asking for the pattern for the resume.
Okay. So in our next session, we will talk about the resume and the essays and if you reach out to me, here's my email. I'll send you a template for the resume, no problem. I'll just say that London Business School is one of the only school, I didn't say it today, but usually in the Q&A of London Business School, that very, very explicitly says one-page resume. Even if you have 10 years of experience, one-page resume. Even if you have a lot of achievements, one page. If you can't get it on one page, mission not accomplished. So only one page. Again, ask me via email. I'll send you a template. That's it.
Then Takshia asks, how does LBS see a candidate who has around 10 years of experience?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, Sakshi. So what I would say is 12 years is kind of a top limit. I'm expanding your questions. If you have more than 12 years, you can definitely go for special senior full-time programs. London Business School has one called the Sloan program. The easiest is just send me an email. It's on the screen, and I will send you a list of programs and maybe review your resume and tell you which program is suited for you. If you have up to 10 years or 10, you're kind of borderline for both. So should you be a bit older and more experienced than the regular MBA class who has 5.5 years of experience on average? Or should you be a bit younger than the Sloan class who has around 15, 16 years of average? So I need to look at your profile to kind of give you the best advice. But yes, you can still apply to London Business School if you have, let's say, under 12 years of experience. But you're getting near. So let's say this year, or you already go for the more senior programs. Again, there's some other options as well. So talk to me kind of privately on that.
Now they are asking about the potential range of scholarships that are received by strong candidates with a 715 plus GMAT and strong extracurriculars.
Okay. So Shubham, thanks for that question. I would say that first of all, I'm going to expand the answer and say GMAT is just one factor. And as an interviewer, I had 3 or 4 people that had 780 in the GMAT, in the old GMAT. I think I had one that had a 790. I even had a candidate that had an 800 once. And I think I didn't accept all the 780s as an interview. And the reason was GMAT is just one factor. It's a big factor, maybe it's 30% of your application, but it's one. So the fact that you have a good GMAT, above average, good for you. What about the rest? But if you have a very strong professional experience, a very strong extracurricular activity, you're very special, you volunteered with the UN, you were selected by, you have a Nobel Prize, okay? I mean, yeah, I mean, I would expect you to get 100% scholarship. So the range is between 0 to 100. But again, I need to know your profile for more information on what your chances are.
Yeah, now Raghav asks, do qualifications like the CFA charter provide any benefit during the MBA admissions process?
Sure, great question. So Raghav, I mean, CFAs, I don't know what level, etc., level 1, 2, etc. The hardest professional qualifications that there are, it's very hard to study and then to pass these tests. And it definitely shows that you're a rigorous person. But I will take it to another direction. Again, so it's an advantage. It adds 2 points to your application. But my other direction is think if who your competitors are. So let's say you're an accountant in a Big 4 firm and you have the CFA accreditation. There might be another 100 people very similar to you. Okay, so it does add points, but just think, how do you still differentiate yourself from some other colleagues, for example? But again, great question. And yes, any qualification, anything special that you have is worth a few more points. Same with the next qualification. So any additional qualification, that works.
Now Gustavo asks, if my GPA and GMAT scores are a little below average, what should I focus the most to achieve on admission?
Yeah. So great question, Gustavo, and I love it. So first of all, send me your resume and your GMAT score, and I can kind of tell you what I think your chances assessment, give you a chances assessment. I think we had this year a 595 that got into London Business School. So 595, I think that's around the 640, 650 in the old GMAT. I've had 630 and 640s get into London Business School. I have a 660 GMAT in the old GMAT. So we actually love low, I'm proud of it. We love low GMATs at ARINGO because it gives a chance to actually emphasize other aspects, okay? So what are the other aspects? They're very individual, so no idea what to tell you. But what are the other aspects that you have? It might be professional work experience. It might be a very interesting life experience. It might be coming from a different background. Maybe your job isn't very analytical. Maybe you don't have very good English. So maybe that's the reason why your GMAT isn't so high. Maybe you work in a very stressful environment in the army. Maybe I don't know where, in Wall Street, you work 17 hours a day, so you didn't have time to prepare. Again, I would use that section that I showed before, do your academic scores represent your ability or potential? But it's doable. But again, I kind of need to see your profile. So let's take it another direction. Let's say if your work experience isn't very good and your academic experience isn't very good, and your GMAT isn't very good, you're not going to get in. Okay, I mean, that's obvious. But when can you get admitted? If at least one of them is special. So if you show something special, yes, you have a chance of getting into top schools, even London Business School.
Now, Kanika asked, I applied for round 3 in 2025 and was rejected. So she asked if she can apply in the coming round. She's a female engineer and her GMAT hasn't changed, but her responsibilities have changed a lot.
Okay, that's a great question, Kanika. So let's talk about re-apps. First of all scores accept all schools accept reapplications and reapplicants. And it's actually something the school really likes, because I know you have, let's say I'm London Business School, I know you have other options. You could have gone to another MBA, but no, you decided to wait and reapply. So you probably really want London Business School. So that's on the good side. I'm giving you 2 extra points because you really want London Business School. But I'm taking off 2 points because we didn't accept you last year from a certain reason, which you don't know, because when you don't get accepted, the schools don't give any feedback. So when you reapply, whoever's reviewing your application will look at your previous year's application as well. And they will say, she didn't get in. What has changed? Now, if your GMAT hasn't changed, your work experience hasn't changed, you're going to use the same references, everything's going to, if you're going to copy and paste your application, there's a very small chance that you'll get into London Business School. There is a chance, because maybe you applied in the last round, maybe they were already full, maybe, you know, it was a timing thing, but I doubt it. And you really need to show some kind of change. And there's usually two major changes that you can show. You probably didn't change your academics. You didn't go and do a different degree. So one of them is the GMAT. Yes, your score could have been X, and now it's X plus 50. Wow, great achievement. Very difficult usually. And because I usually recommend to apply when you're ready. And if you applied last year and you were ready, so why is your score higher this year? So something's a bit weird. But the second place where it can change is your professional experience. If your professional experience changed and maybe you have more responsibilities, or maybe you got promoted, definitely mention that. But my tip to you would be change some of the essays, bring a new recommender, change the story, because you didn't get in last year. Do something different. Again, talk to me privately. Can see what we can do.
Now, Kanika also asks if round 2 deadlines are in December, January, when should she reach for a consultant?
Yeah. So reach to me, you know, after this session. But definitely working with us can take, you know, on a number of schools can take 3 months. So, you know, the sooner the better, because people work, you know, I know our candidates work, and they do it part-time, we do it full-time. But you know, the more time, the better. You know, then the application is the best. Next question.
Rahul also asked, do candidates applying from overrepresented countries like India need to score higher than average GMAT GRE score required by LBS?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And again, it really depends on your specific profile. I don't think the schools would admit it, but yes, they're building the best pool of candidates that they can. And if, for example, they have 10 candidates which have the exact same background, so if you're from India, let's say 10 candidates went to the same IIT university and worked in either Microsoft or Apple or Google for 3 years and were promoted once. Okay, and they're male engineers. This is a very specific profile. But if there's 10 candidates with the exact same profile, yes, probably a higher GMAT would make the difference. So it is a bit expected from candidates that come from an overrepresented background, and also probably from candidates that have an analytical background, like an engineer, to score a bit above the average GMAT score. But again, we've seen it done before, and I've had Indian male engineers with a 670 and a 680 get into London Business School, so that's 30, 40 points below the school's average. I don't know what that is, 615 in the GMAT Focus Edition. So definitely doable. But yeah, the higher the better, especially if you come from an overrepresented background. We're nearly there, guys, and we're just trying to answer all the questions. Again, if someone wants to drop, bye, thank you. But we'll try and answer everything.
Yeah, so
We're on a roll, Melissa, come on, we're on a roll.
Yes. What about people who have not had any international interaction? What can we do?
Yeah, again, so I have this problem with a lot of candidates. They haven't lived in Germany for 5 years. They didn't do a student exchange. They don't work for an international company. First of all, it is what it is. Okay, and again, you are who you are. We need to find other unique things in your profile. But I will say that kind of an international outreach is one of the factors that at London Business School is viewed as a major factor. Now, again, if you work to a very local company and all your experience has been local in your country, but you have other aspects of your application that are strong, you have a chance of getting into London Business School.
Sapana asks, can I submit the application without GMAT score for January intake?
Let's make it very short. No. Apply when your profile is ready. And I'll tell you another option. Let's say you call London Business School tomorrow and explain that you have something very unique, a surgery on your toenail exactly in December. Sorry, something silly. And your dog died. And you just didn't manage to do the GMAT and your application is ready and you're asking for an extension of 2 weeks. Okay. And let's say you get the extension. And they say, yes, apply now and give me your GMAT score in 2 weeks. And then if you don't score a good score in your GMAT, or if worse, if London Business School look at your application without the GMAT and say, well, it doesn't even have a GMAT, why should, and then you kind of got rejected without maximizing your chances, and then next year you're a re-app. So that's a very bad idea. Apply when your profile is maximized. If you need another year, you need another year. If you need more time for the GMAT, apply in a later round. If you need more time to write the application, don't hurry and apply in round 1, not even in round 2. Apply when your profile is the best. And then you'll have the highest chance of getting in.
Sakshi asked if she was part of Forte some years ago. Will that still be valid?
If she's part of what? Sorry, I missed that.
Of Forte?
Of Forte. Sorry, of Forte.
Yeah.
Well, again, the question is very simple. Are you a member of Forte at the end there of London Business School? So I think you need to be an active member or something. I think you can't lie. If you were, you were, but if you are, you are. So whatever the form is asking. If they're asking, are you an active member? And you're not, you're not.
Ritika asked, I already have an MBA from India. Not sure if I should apply for the 1-year MBA or 2-year.
Yeah, so there is a 1-year MBA at London Business School. I didn't go into that. It's a new course. It's for people who did like a MIM degree or I think a previous MBA somewhere else. Again, it's quite new. I think that's 12 months. You can do the regular course for 15. Not sure there's a huge difference. I don't think there'll be a huge job opportunity difference between these different programs. I'm not sure there is an internship. And if you're looking to do a pivot in your career, you might want to do a longer program, which will give you more time also to do a summer internship and also to find in the second year maybe a good job for this new career shift that you're looking for. So I probably recommend a longer degree for career shifters, generally speaking. Hint for other European programs which are quite quick. So if you're a career shifter, maybe a longer program is just generally better for you.
Manan asked, if I'm only midway through certification like CFA and have not completed before the deadline, do we still add it as it is not yet a certification? Where else can we add this?
Yeah, very specific question. So you don't have the certification. Okay, so you can't put in that checkbox that I showed before, I have a CFA or I'm a lawyer. You're not. So you can definitely put it on the resume studying towards, and you can, depending on your profile, which I don't know anything about, decide if you're putting it in one of the optional essays or not.
And then would a certification course or in FMBA count as a professional qualification?
Yeah, I think any certification that you have, what did I give before? The gym management, okay, whatever, roller skate instructor. Okay, so remember there was the professional certificates and there was like anything else. So you decide where they go. It doesn't really matter as long as London Business School know you. By the way, I can see there's some people asking for like profile evaluations. We're skipping those questions in the chat. So thank you, Melissa. You can send me a personal email. We're trying to answer like more general questions here. I think we're towards the end. So there's just a few more questions and we're getting there.
Yeah, Kanika, she hasn't received a promotion, but due to reduction of her team size, there has been a huge amount of responsibilities added. So, does it count?
I'll answer, Melissa. Kanika, again, first of all, talk to me personally. I'll answer generally speaking. A lot of people don't get a promotion every year. A lot of people don't manage people. Okay, I work with a lot of lawyers. They can be 10 years a lawyer, an associate in a firm, and they don't manage people and they haven't received any promotions. It doesn't mean they're not good candidates. So it really depends where you are on the circumstances. Can we use things from your additional information and extracurricular activities? So again, it's very specific to your case.
I think we're done with the questions. Diana is the last question. She asked if she can also reach to you for other target schools.
Thank you, Diana. Yes, we work on all European and US top school and Asian top schools. Please reach out with your CV and your GMAT score if you have one. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
We did
Shimri. Yes, we did all the questions, and thank you so much for all the insights and your expert knowledge in LBS. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Look out for our next session on the essays and the CV and the recommendations for LBS.
Yes,
And
next
thank you,
session is
everybody,
coming
for
on
some great
August.
questions.
So, yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Melissa, for hosting
everyone.
us.
Bye. Thank you, Shimri.